The Toronto Maple Leafs have made multiple surprising moves, including moves regarding Jake McCabe, Nikita Grabenkin, and more. We're going to break down all those moves. We're also going to discuss some major updates we have ahead of tonight's game against the Anaheim Ducks and Jacob Trouba. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, we want to say that this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca, who are proud supporters of Team Canada. And while they've been supporting our national team defend their home court in international competition, they've also been helping thousands of Canadians find their home floor all across the country. And it doesn't matter what city you're in, whether it is Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax, Winnipeg, Mississauga, Edmonton, Victoria, St. John's, it doesn't matter. From coast to coast, Rentals.ca has a ton of options to find the perfect place and price for you.
Yeah, their website is clean and easy to use, and you can pinpoint exactly on the map where you want to move, finding all the options in your area. Find your home court with rentals.ca.
Check out the link in the pinned comment as well as the description down below. And thank you to Rentals.ca once again for supporting us, supporting Team Canada, and supporting you guys and finding the best rentals across the country. So thank you again to Rentals.ca for sponsoring this video. Now, there's a lot to go over today. So the Leafs obviously play tonight. They're playing okay. They obviously snuck out a win, and they have a pretty easy stretch of games coming up here. And ahead of tonight's game against the Anaheim Ducks, in which hopefully they're going to win, we have a ton of updates regarding injuries, regarding moves being made. Who's in net is even a little bit surprising, not necessarily surprising, but something I'm happy about. So we're going to dive into it all here. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. So Maple Leafs defenseman Marshall Rafai has been assigned to the Toronto Marlies. Obviously didn't play for the Leafs, even though he was up. And Nikita Grabenkin has been recalled back up now from the Toronto Marlies. We obviously had a video on him being sent down. We also know we made a video last night. If you checked it out, if you didn't, go check it out after this video about Alex Nylander being called up. Being sent down on waivers. So clearly they called up Nikita Grabenkin. They sent Alex Nylander back down on waivers here. A lot of interesting things going on, even dating back to yesterday night here. And we'll dive into Jake McCabe in a minute, but I just want to get your thoughts on this. Marshall Rafai, he's been sent down. Nikita Grabenkin is back after, about a week down.
Yeah, this also tells me that I think Bobby McMahon will not return tonight. And I think Nikita Kurbankin could factor into the game either tonight or maybe in a couple days, or maybe he's just up practicing, taking line rushes because a couple of guys, aren't ready to go yet. And in terms of Marshall Rafai, he was just up, obviously, because they're dealing with some injury trouble. And this tells me, and we'll get to it in a second, Jake McCabe is back tonight. So that's good news on the Toronto Maple Leafs front. And at the time of this recording, we don't actually know what's going to happen with Alex Nylander yet. So that's going to come down as well, whether he's claimed or not. That should come down around 2 o'clock Eastern today. So a very busy day for the Toronto Maple Leafs, including a game, but some good news with Jake McCabe looking like he's going to return tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things going on. And maybe Nikita Grabenkin, he might get into the lineup tonight. And speaking of getting into the lineup, finally, Jake McCabe has returned to the lineup. He missed 5 games after taking the puck to the head, which seems like weeks ago now. And it was, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So after a couple of weeks, Jake McCabe is back. And like you mentioned, he has been probably one of the more important pieces that they've been missing over the past handful of games. They've obviously been slumping a little bit here. And as you look at some of the lines, and we have a ton more updates, so bear with it here. But you can see the blue line now. So they're rocking McCabe, Tanev, Riley, OEL, and Benoit Timmins. And then, of course, for the morning skate today, you have Nyes, Matthews, Marner, Pacioretty, Tavares, Nylander, Holmberg, Minton, Domi, Lorenz, Duer-Reeves. So it doesn't seem like Nikita Grabenkin is going to factor into the lineup. That can, of course, change. They're going with Ryan Reeves at this point over him, Connor Dewar, and Lorenz. That has been a great fourth line, at least Lorenz and Connor Dewar. Dewar's been playing extraordinarily well as of late here, but just a lot of things going on here. You finally have McCabe, and that really stretches out the defense now. I like these pairings a good bit more, and it's also interesting that you have McCabe paired up with Tanev on the top line, so they're throwing McCabe right into the top pairing there, and then of course you have Riley, OEL, and Benoit Timmins who have been together in the past, and Hakanpää is still in the mystery injured reserve list here, so there's some interesting things going on with that. But what do you get at the lines this morning? Some very interesting ones, and I like them in general. However, I sound like a broken record here. Guess who's on the top line paired again? That is Matthews and Marner, which I'm not a fan of, but I'm going to, we'll bear with it for now. And Domi's down on the third line.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But first of all, shout out to Tony Ambrosio, an absolute legend in the industry and filling in for Mark Masters this morning. So shout out to him. And it's interesting, the lines today. I mean, first pairing, the fact that Riley is off the quote unquote first pairing for the first time in years, I think is very interesting. I don't remember seeing it like this ever. But again, take your pick at the Leafs defensive pairings. Right now, I think McCabe and Tanev as a shutdown pair has been fantastic. So maybe Berube likes that as his number one option, what have you. But I think obviously Riley and Ekman Larson have been great together too at times this season. So that's great. I like these defensive pairings a lot. And obviously Myers, I think he filled in pretty well, but there's times in the defensive zone he just looked a little bit lost at times. So that's fine. I think he's a good depth option. Obviously brings the physicality. So So I'm sure we'll see him again at some point this season, but I'm glad that Jake McCabe's back. He's a big part of this team. I'm glad they locked him up. But yeah, in terms of forwards, again, Gurbankin probably won't play tonight, just calling him up for an extra body, probably getting a skate in. Lawrence as well has been fantastic, winning a lot of his minutes, I think, 5-on-5. And again, doing his thing penalty kill. But again, the 5-on-5 thing is the biggest thing to me. I mean, he's not necessarily scoring goals, but he's not, being scored on a lot either. So I like that from him. There's a lot of nothing sometimes that goes on when he's on the ice, and I think that's okay at times. But back on the fourth line, and then I think that third line is going to be very interesting with Domi and Minton. I said in a previous stream and obviously a couple of videos ago that I wonder what that would look like on the third line, where Minton's actually playing with a couple of guys that, maybe could make a difference. Holmberg, I don't know, he hasn't been that great this season either, but Robertson not factoring into the lineup again tonight, I think that's very interesting. His time here could be up, right? That's 2 games in a row at this point. So I wonder what's going to happen with that. And lastly, Nyes is back on the first line with Matthews and Marner. And again, I think we'll see what happens tonight, but I do not love Matthews and Marner together. So we'll see what happens tonight, and I'm expecting a big game from them.
Yeah, Pacioretty obviously moved down from the first line. He was playing the first line since his return, coming back a couple games ago. And regarding the power play, you have Marner, Nylander, Matthews, Nyes, and Tavares, and you have Riley Oel, Pacioretty, Domi. And I mean, Robertson is not, of course, going to factor in there because Nylander is going to be playing both. But yeah, you mentioned Nick Robertson. I think a trade is going to be happening soon over the next few weeks. I would assume maybe we'll get a similar situation to obviously Jacob Trouba is a much different player and had the kind of a say in where he wanted to go. But I could see a situation here where they really try to ship Nick Robertson off like soon, and just because he's not playing, and I would benefit both sides. That's a video, of course, for another day here. But your guy Darius, he is scratched once again, and it makes sense. He hasn't been playing well, and he's getting Reeves is taking his spot, which is something I didn't think was going to happen. And another update here, and there's a couple other things. For one, David Kampf is taking part in the skate, but is also, I saw some reports as well saying that he's probably not super close to returning at this juncture, but it is good to see that he's back skating with the team, which is something that is encouraging because, again, David Kampf was actually playing really well in an underrated role, but they also have Connor Dewar now. So once David Kampf returns, it's going to be interesting to see where David Kampf factors in because tons of moves are going to go down there. And like you mentioned, Bobby McMahon, he's the first skater to take the ice, hasn't played since suffering his lower body injury a couple weeks ago. He is also not going to play tonight in all likelihood here. So a ton of moving pieces, and kind of lost in all this is something that I, of course, noticed is Anthony Stolarz is back tonight, his big game Tuesday. Back-to-back later this weekend. Wall is going to get to start either Saturday or Sunday. My guess is probably Saturday. Joseph Wall will. So at the end of the day, they're letting Stolarz ride his really hot game where he had, I believe, 37 saves or 38 saves last game. So things are looking really solid on that front. Any thoughts on this? A lot of things going on right now. Even Nikita Gurbankin, white jersey, just getting him up with the team, and it's a ton of moving parts and probably the biggest news drop we've had. And we'll also have an Alex Nylander update as well later today.
Yeah, we will. And I mean, there's a lot going on right now. Gurbankin, like I said, just out for a skate this morning, probably won't play tonight, but a couple of guys getting in work. McMahon, I would think, would come back on Saturday. He seems like he's really close. Berube said that obviously Camp, as we've seen, he's eligible to return this Saturday, but it doesn't look likely that he's going to. He's still a little ways away. And when he does return, there's a bit of a logjam, like you mentioned. I still think they want a couple players as reserves who are going to be scratches and, travel with the team just in case something happens. It's just good to have extra players of NHL caliber along with the team, and if the salary cap allows for it, it's a good thing. So I think that that's the plan, but something's got to give. There's a bit of a logjam and a couple guys like Robertson that don't really fit into the puzzle pieces anymore, or are puzzle pieces that don't fit into the puzzle. But it's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on. So I don't know if Camp is imminent to return, but I would think that obviously McMahon, it sounds like he's really close. I think the date was today, probably is Saturday. And then in terms of goaltending, ride the hot hand, right? Stolarz had an amazing game on Tuesday, so put him back in net. I don't think they'll do 3 in a row, like you said. So I think it's Joseph Woll Saturday and then probably Stolarz on Sunday.
Yeah, they need to take care of business tonight. Heavy favorites, of course, against the Anaheim Ducks. And speaking of the Anaheim Ducks, their last 5 games, they're 4-1. So they've dominated most of them. Obviously, 4-3 win, 4-3 loss. So that wasn't really domination. And then 7-0, and then also 9-2. So hopefully they can take care of business tonight. They need to. They need to get as many points as they can. They're exactly 2 points back of the Florida Panthers. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do regarding that and taking control of the Atlantic Division. But let me know down below. Let us know down below what your thoughts are on all this news. We'll see you guys later.